Nichols was a working-class woman who served as a teacher at a small elementary school and as a writer at a local Vermont magazine called the Windham County Democrat. Following the end of an unfortunate marriage, she supported herself and her 3 children through the woman's wages that she earned. It was an amount that equaled close to 1/3 of what men earned for similar work. Shortly after she began working for the paper, she married the paper's editor, George Nichols, who became fatally ill not long after their marriage. While her husband was indisposed, Clarina Nichols took up the reins and single-handedly oversaw all editorial work for the paper. Through her work, she was introduced to various reform movements of the day and became a staunch advocate for political organizations that supported women's rights, temperance, anti-slavery movements, and equality for both men and women. Clarina Nichols listened and knitted during debates at the Wyandotte Constitutional Convention, and as the official representative of the Monica Women's Rights Association, was eventually assigned a seat in the convention hall. At every opportunity, she met with delegates to share her views about equality and justice. In 1854, when the Kansas-Nebraska Act threatened to establish slavery outside of the South, Clarina Nichols uprooted her entire family and moved to serve as an activist. Her efforts earned the support of such women as Susan B. Anthony and other esteemed activists at the time. Clarina's speech promoted the Christian position that individuals made in the likeness of God possess an inherent human dignity and share in a responsibility to protect this dignity for men and women alike. To this effect, Clarina Nichols stood before the assembly of the Second National Women's Rights Convention in Worcester, Massachusetts in 1851, and, with no prior preparation, delivered the following address.
My friends, I have made no preparation to address you. I left home feeling that if I had anything to do here, I should have the grace given me to do it. Or if there should be any branch of the subject not sufficiently presented, I would present it. I commenced life with the most refined notions of woman's sphere. I know now how it was, but I could even then see over the barriers of that sphere and see that, however easy it might be for me to keep within it, a great majority of women were outside its boundaries, driven thither by their own, or invited by the necessities and interests of those they loved. But friends, it is only since I have met the varied responsibilities of life that I have comprehended woman's sphere, and I have come to regard it as lying within the whole circumference of humanity. If, as is claimed by the most ultra opponents of the wife's legal individuality, the interests of the parties are identical, then I claim as a legitimate conclusion that their spheres are also identical. For interests determine duties, and duties are the landmarks of spheres. Wherever a man may rightfully go, it is proper that woman should go also. But I shall say very little of women's rights. I would lay an axe at the root of the tree. I would impress upon you woman's responsibility and the means fitly to discharge them before heaven. I stand before you, a mother, a sister, a daughter, filling every relation that it is given to woman to fill, and by the same token that I have a husband, a father, and brothers, men whom I revere for their manliness and love for their tenderness. So I may speak to you with confidence and say, I respect manhood. I love it when men aspire to the high destiny which God has opened to them. And it is because I have confidence in manhood that I am here to press upon it the claims of womanhood. My claim for woman is the means of education that she may understand and be able to meet her responsibilities. I have introduced of women's responsibilities that I might, if possible, impress upon you a conviction of the expediency and duty of yielding our rights to the means that will enable us to be helpers of men in the true sense of helpers. I do not understand that we are at liberty to help men to the devil, I believe it is our mission to help them heavenward to the full development and right enjoyment of their being. Brothers, you ask us to accept the protection of your love, and the law says that it is sufficient for us, whether it feeds us or robs us of our bread. You admit that woman exceeds man in self-sacrificing love. Her devotions to you has passed into a proverb. Yet for all this, you refuse to entrust your interest to her love. You do not feel safe in your interest without the protection of equal laws. You refuse to trust even the mother's love to the interest of her children. How then do you ask of us? You who do not trust your interest to the love of a mother, wife, daughter, or sister. Why do you ask of us to dispense with the protection of equal laws and accept instead the protection of man's affection? I would offer in conclusion a few thoughts on education. I would say to my sisters, lest they become discouraged under existing disabilities from attempting it, we can educate ourselves. It may be that you hesitate from supposed inferiority of intellect. Now, I have never troubled myself to establish women's intellectual equality. The inequality of educational facilities forbids us to sustain such a position by facts. But I have long since disposed of this question to my own satisfaction, and perhaps my conclusion will inspire you with confidence to attempt equal, I would hope superior attainments, for man falls short of the intelligence within reach of his own powers. We all believe that the Creator is both omniscient and omnipotent, wise and able to adapt means to the ends he had in view. We hold ourselves created to sustain certain relations as intelligent beings, and that God has endowed us with capabilities equal to the discharge of the duties involved in those relations. Now let us survey women's responsibilities within the near sphere to which any common sense man would limit her offices. As a mother, her powers mold and develop humanity intellectually, morally, and physically. Next to God, woman is the creator of this race, as it is and as it shall be. I ask then, has God created woman man's inferior? If so, he has been false to his wisdom, false to his power, in creating an inferior being for superior work. But if it be true, as all admit that woman's responsibilities are equal to man's, I claim that God has endowed her with equal powers for their discharge. And how shall we develop these powers, my sisters? For your encouragement, I will refer to my own experience in this matter. I claim to be self-educated. Beyond a single year's instruction in a high school for young men and women, I have enjoyed no public educational facilities but the common school which our Green Mountain State opens to all our sons and daughters. Prevented by circumstances from availing myself of the discipline of a classical school of the highest order, and nerved by a faith in my ability to achieve equal attainments with my brother man, I resorted to books and the study of human nature with direct reference to the practical application of my influence and my acquirements to my woman's work, the development of the immortal spirit for the accomplishment of human destiny. And my own experience is that the world in which we live and act, and by which we are impressed, is the best school for women as well as for man. Practical life furnishes the best discipline for our powers. It qualifies us to take life as we find it and leave it better than we found it. In the light of my experience, I would say to you, my sisters, the first thing is to apply ourselves to the intelligent discharge of present duties, diligently searching out and applying all knowledge that will qualify us for higher and extended usefulness. Be always learners, and don't forget to teach. Early in life, my attention was called to examine the value of beauty and accomplishments as permanent grounds of affection. I could not believe that God had created so many homely women and suffered all to lose their beauty and the very maturity of their powers, and yet made it our duty to spend our best efforts in trying to look pretty. We all want to be loved. And can it be that we have no more lasting claims to admiration than that beauty and those accomplishments which serve us only in the springtime of life? Surely our days of dancing and musical performance are soon over, when musical instruments of sweeter tone cry mother. What then shall we do for admiration when stricken in years? Has not God endowed us with some lasting hold upon these affections? My sister, I can only find lasting charm in that thorough culture of the mind and heart, which will enable us to win upon man's higher and better nature. His passion, If you have beauty and accomplishments, these address themselves to man's lower nature, his passions, in which age has robbed you of the one and him of the other. You are left unloved and unlovely. Cultivate then your powers of the mind and heart, that you may become necessary to his better and undying sympathies. Aid him in all the earnest work of life, and secure his aids in your self-development for noble purposes by impressing upon him that you are in earnest. Sell your jewelry if need be, abate your expenditures for show, and appropriate your means and time spent in idle visiting to the culture of your souls. Then will his soul respond to your worth, and the ties that bind you endure through time and make your companions in eternity. Educate your daughters for practical life, and you have endowed them better than if you had given them fortunes. When a young girl of 14, I said to my father, "Give me education instead of setting out in the world, if you can give me but one. If I marry and am poor in this world's goods, I can educate my children myself. If my husband should be unfortunate, the sheriff can take his goods, but no creditor can attach a capital invested here." Thank you.